Okay, I think I'll go ahead and get started here. Welcome everyone to our January Student Support Staff meeting. It's been a couple months since we've all been together, so I'm hoping that we'll have a lot to share. The first thing on my agenda is to welcome Shannon, our new navigator in Bellevue, and I'm not sure if she's online. Esther, do you know if Shannon's joining us?
As far as I know, she was planning to. I'm going to give her a quick call.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Well, while we're waiting for Shannon, how's everybody doing?
Good, here.
Great. Adriana's busy. Oh, Andy's recovering from the flu. I'm sorry. We're feeling better now. Okay, we do, so let's call in user 11. You identify yourself?
Pam, this is Patricia. It might be me. My browser is not functional, but I'm still working on it.
Okay. Patricia, are you caller 11?
I don't have any way of knowing because I can't get into the WebEx. I'm
Oh,
only
okay.
on the audio. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I think I see Shannon on. Shannon, are you there?
Pam, again, this is Patricia. Margaret and Roger are assisting Pam trying to get her webcam up. So I know they're working on it.
Okay. There you are. I can't hear you, though.
And these speakers are working.
So Margaret and Shannon, we can see you, but we can't hear you yet. Hi, Shannon. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, well, while we're trying to get Shannon online, let's go ahead and start. So welcome again, everyone. So it has been a couple of months since we were all together. So I just kind of wanted to check in with everyone of how's everybody doing? Do you have any new updates for us since we last met? I know some of us were together in December, and some of us have not been together since November. So just like to open it up if anyone would like to share any new updates or new challenges or best practices or successes. Now would be a great time.
This is Adriana, and can you hear me? Yeah. So I have two things to share that I've just started doing this quarter. One is I made a faculty presentation request form, so I could email that and also put it in faculty mailboxes because I found that they often don't respond to email. So that's been, now I have several presentations coming up in the next 2 weeks. So that was kind of a new thing I thought about. And the other thing is that I decided to make a personal success plan for each new student that came in this quarter. So we had 50 new nursing students, and what I did is, in addition to the intake questions, I had them fill out like just one-page survey about barriers they foresee and any challenges they might have in the program, and then I put that into kind of a plan that I typed up, and I am still working on it, but I'm emailing each individual student, here's what I recommend you do in order to be successful based on what barriers you foresaw. So kind of two initiatives that I'm doing.
Wow, that sounds great. Thanks for sharing. I'm curious, survey tool are you using?
You know, I actually just did it on paper.
Oh, okay.
But that's something that would be great if you could help out with kind of going forward is the best thing to use, because at the end of the quarter we like to do a survey in all of our programs. And the problem is that when we did SurveyMonkey, which is the free one, you can only ask a couple of questions. So we could not ask enough to ask about infused programs and the questions I wanted to ask about coaching. So I don't know if you can research for us a better tool that we might be able to use digitally so that we could have that.
Yeah, I can look at that. Also, I know, I think in the PM meeting yesterday, Maria mentioned something about a program called, oh gosh, it started with a Q. Kia, I think she called it. Does anyone else know about that program? Okay. Well, that is definitely something I can look into, and I'll let you know what I find out. I'll let you know.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Pam, this is Shannon Magnuson. I apologize. It took me a few minutes to get my headset and phone going. Are you able to hear me at this point?
Yes. Welcome,
okay.
Shannon.
Great. Thank you so much. Apologize for being late.
That's okay. So Shannon's our new navigator in Bellevue. Shannon, is there anything you'd like to say to the group?
Well, I'm excited to be part of the team. Just briefly, my background is as a career specialist in education for about 16 years, working both at high school and college level. And this is my first venture and a focus primarily in the health field. So I'm on a learning curve, but very excited by the challenge. So it's going to be great to be part of the team.
Well, we're really happy to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to share any challenges or best practices or updates?
Oh, Pam?
Hi, Jennifer.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
I meant to speak up in the last meeting, but I don't know about the other consortium colleges, but I know that Bellevue College has purchased the rights to selectsurvey.net. So we don't have to be limited to using SurveyMonkey. The free version is, I've actually gained access to Select Survey, and I will probably be using that with students. But I don't know, maybe the other campuses may have their own surveys as well. They might just have to check with the other departments.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So Bellevue's using select.com.
Select Survey. Selectsurvey.net is what it's called.
Net, okay. Great, so that might be something people might want to look into is, does your college have a survey tool that's available for you to use that's beyond the capabilities of SurveyMonkey?
Can I chime in?
Yes.
This is Brandy. Hi. So one of the things that we're doing right now is besides our health informatics program, we're now adding in the tracking for one of our BTEC programs, our medical office assistant program. So that's an existing program versus the health informatics program, which we have gotten up off the ground. So we're facing a few challenges with just trying to get the faculty on board and understanding, you know, what a navigator can do to assist their students, and just trying to kind of figure out, you know, how we're going to sort that out with them, how we're going to get them to refer their students to me, and how we're going to find out when they're getting new students and how they're getting new students. So I know that they've been used to a certain process, so maybe it seems to them that we're kind of stepping into that. I know that there's some other people that have started helping out with existing programs, so I'm just wondering if there's any suggestions.
Great question. Does anyone have any suggestions or advice for Brandy about how to connect with faculty and existing programs that are being used?
Sure, I can chime in because we've had something similar with our new programs, and working with faculty has been huge, collaborating with them. I would recommend, well, meeting with the faculty in person and laying out what services you can offer to the students. And then if this is an on-site program, getting classroom time and getting actual face time with the students would be really fantastic, because then they can see you physically and you can tell them right off the bat what services, and you can always follow up with an email. But I would say getting classroom time if this is not an online program, and then meeting with the faculty or the department chair is definitely crucial.
If I might chime in from working on, this is Shannon, from working on previous projects, I also found it very beneficial if I could have a one-on-one with a department chair and ask if I might be able to give a presentation at a faculty department meeting. And at that point, just give an overview to everyone and then be able to follow up with one-on-one meetings with various faculty members.
Great, thanks, Shannon. Does anyone else have any other suggestions?
One thing that I have found that works is being able to go in and talk with the faculty and finding out first if they have identified any challenges before I tell them what I can do for them. I'd like to hear first what they think is going well and how they could use better support, and then come back at a later time and share services that actually might benefit things that they've already identified as challenges. And I found that was a way, because our programs are infused and some have been really well established, so coming in as an outsider was kind of difficult, and that kind of helped bridge that gap there.
Great, thank you, Natalie.
And this is Adriana, and what I found was it's good to start kind of as a group, maybe at a faculty meeting, or something, and just I give an overview of my services and kind of explain the grant, because I found that a lot of people had heard of the grant, but they really didn't understand what it was or what my role was. So making it really clear, you know, these are all the services I offer students, and kind of giving them a handout, and then after the meeting following up more individually. But starting with that general one, just so if they ask each other, then they're like, oh yeah, I met her, or put the face to the name, I know who she is.
Great, that's a great idea too. Thanks, Adriana. Anyone else? Okay, Brandy, I hope that was helpful. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay, does anyone else have anything they'd like to share around challenges or best practices? I see call-in user 11. Are you there? Okay, I also have some comments in the chat box from Matt Bryant, and he says that I find building rapport with program support staff to be helpful if that's difficult to connect with. Thank you, Matt. Okay, if no one else has any challenges or best practices you'd like to share, then we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is recruitment and employment goals. And thanks to all of you who sent me your goals ahead of time. I received goals from Clark, Spokane, Bellingham, Bellevue, and Nova. And still waiting on goals from Whatcom, Silver Park, Renton, and Pierce. I really appreciate that. It's really helpful for me to get a snapshot of what all the different colleges are working on when it comes to recruitment and employment. And I also think it's always helpful to have goals that are broken down by a time frame and action items to kind of keep you focused. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And I'm wondering if anyone has any questions about those, or if you ran into any challenges when you were trying to put your goals, that we might be able to talk about that now.
Hi, this is Mary. So Pam, like I mentioned when I sent you my spreadsheet, I think the biggest challenge is predicting any more than like 90 days out, just because our program is so new and we haven't completed anybody in our program yet. So that's our biggest challenge is getting students enrolled and then being able to have someone finish the program. And so it's hard to predict what that, you know, what our, like I said, out more than 90 days.
Yeah. And I understand that too, is that the goals are always subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, were you able to come up with goals and action items to kind of help you the recruitment of that?
Yeah, we've had a conversation around it. Probably the biggest problem, and now that we always wait till the 10th day of the new term, the new school term, because then we know exactly who's dropped out and who has not. So then after we get that list, which will be tomorrow, then we can go and we say, okay, these people are enrolled in this class. Are they interested in doing a further development, and do they have room in their schedule for further development by adding on our classes? And then trying to figure out which ones are where they're at in the process, or are they first year or second year, and then identify. We've had problems because a lot of our classes are online, and getting contact with those students online is almost impossible. You know, we respond to them, but it's not like we can walk into their classroom and say, hey, or talk to the instructor and say, hey, can you give me 5 minutes? That doesn't happen. So that's been one of our biggest challenges, especially with the infusion classes that are online.
Does anyone have any input or suggestions for Mary with her challenge? Let me check the chat box.
I guess I have a question for her.
Okay.
This is Jennifer. Mary, I don't know how you're, if you guys are using the same platform that we use here at Bellevue College for our online courses, but are you able to get access to classes online? Like, are you able to have a presence in the online classroom?
Actually, no, because the instructor has asked us not to.
Oh, okay. That does make it more difficult.
But we're hoping, she's teaching our new HeW classes the winter term, and so I'm hoping that that barrier has been broken down just because she's teaching it and the response has been really good with the students that I've contacted since the class has started. So I'm hoping that, and being that there are only 8 in that class, that maybe she'll let us start with that class and then we can go on to Health Information Management, which is the infusion class.
Good.
Okay, I do have some comments in the chat box from Beth. She says, I have the same problem, not to hear me, but what I have done since almost all my students are completely online is I've corresponded directly with all the students every week with a newsletter, and occasionally I get a response from the students. Beth, is there anything more you'd like to say about that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can? Oh, good. Yeah, all of my students are online. I really have no direct communication with them unless they choose to respond. But I am starting to get a response. I've been sending out the newsletter since October with information either about social networking or the career field or setting goals. I mean, I'm doing all the things you would do if you sat with them in person, but I'm doing it through their email addresses that they have, given us. So it's starting to finally get some feedback in December, and already this past week I've actually heard from a few of them. So I feel like I'm making progress. Yeah.
Thanks, Beth. Anyone else have any tips they'd like to share?
I've got a question for Beth. So, Beth, how do you get your intake forms from those folks, and do you get a good response for getting your intake forms back?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And especially, we have a certificate program, so those people I hear from a little more. When I ask for a response from the nursing students where it's infused, I get no response. And the one response I got from a nursing student was, I'm too busy to do anything.
Yeah.
So I just keep offering, intake forms. I am never going to get, I can't see them, so I can't walk into their class or be in the hall and hope to run into them. I just don't have any way of any personal contact with them. It's difficult.
Mary? This is Jennifer again. I just wanted to let you know that with our online certificate students, we physically mailed out our intake forms to them, and I believe that we received them all back. Yet our student body, the number of students enrolled in the program was significantly small. Nonetheless, we did. That's how we were able to get them to fill out the intake forms.
Did you do snail mail or email?
No, snail mail.
Oh yeah, we did that too, but we didn't get them back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for the suggestion.
We tried.
I know.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share around recruitment and employment goals or challenges you might be having with coming up with your goals? Okay, I see I have some comments in the chat box related to the previous discussion. So let's see. Are you all able to comment in the chat field? Okay, thanks, Chantel. So is there anyone who commented who would like to chime in now?
I have a different challenge, which has to do with data collection. So we keep getting new requirements, as I'm sure you guys know, kind of every week or two. And so what it's come down to is that you not only have to do kind of a database with each individual student's file with goals and barriers and stuff like that, but you also need a way to track the weekly meetings. And there's no way to get the meeting, even though I already put the date in the notes in Access, to run a query and get that to go to another database. So just as a heads up that that is a requirement to keep track on a spreadsheet of every single meeting that you've had with students, in addition to having those individual kind of access files and the weekly outreach. So I find that I'm spending a lot of time with data tracking and having kind of 4 systems that are going on at once. And I don't know if anyone else has anything else that they're doing kind of differently, or if they have suggestions on ways that they're tracking this information per the requirements that are more streamlined and maybe not as time-consuming.
Great question, Adriana. Anyone have any?
I have nothing that's been streamlined. Whatcom just rolled out Hobson's Agile Grad, which is an online advising tool for advisors and students. So that is, for me, another element on top of the ones that we're required to do for the grant. And so, similar to you, I feel like I'm balancing 5 or 6 different databases. And so a lot of winter break was trying to figure out what makes the most sense so that my time isn't primarily on keeping databases up to base and not serving students. So I think we're kind of all in that boat, swimming together.
Thank you, Natalie. Anyone else? Okay, well, I'm making a note of that right now, something that I can look into and spend some time trying to understand and see how I might be able to help you guys with that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We have, this is Brandy, we have what's called advising dashboard, where all school has access to it to input notes for students and such, but we don't have the ability to customize like categorization or anything. So because we need to share that information with different people and we use that for referrals and everything, we're going to go ahead and continue using that. And then my project manager, Donna, and myself decided that we could at least copy that information into an Excel document and then categorize it ourselves. It's not necessarily ideal, but at least we can continue what we have been doing and then adapt it later without, you know, trying to create a whole nother system. And it looks
Thanks, Brandy.
like Jennifer is doing the same.
Great, thanks, guys. So I'm curious to know regarding the goals. For those of you who haven't sent them to me, are you running into problems with those, or would you like some additional help from me? Because I'd be happy to talk.
It's Brandy again.
Hi, Brandy.
As I mentioned, you know, we're adding our BTech program. So we were kind of waiting to hear. We were hoping we would have more information on that, because with that being sort of in limbo, we really didn't want to commit to anything since we're just getting started with that program. We were kind of trying to get more information from the faculty, and even we weren't even sure how many students they had for us. So it's really hard to say any numbers without really knowing any information yet. So that was kind of
right.
what we were waiting on.
Oh, okay. Just to give you, kind of from my perspective, some different uses of these goals. One is, like I had mentioned, just to get a snapshot of kind of what everybody's working on. I do want to say the intention on my was not to create more work for you, but was really to get an idea of what you are working on, so that I can best support you moving forward. And the other aspect of it, from my perspective, is since I'm going to be out doing more networking and meeting with different employers and potentially students, it would be really helpful for me to have that kind of snapshot in my mind as I'm going out and meeting with people of kind of what's happening across the consortium. Okay, so are there any other comments about goals or any questions?
Pam, I got a question for you. This is Mary. So you talked about you're going out and talking to employers. So are you going to come to the east side of the state as well?
That's a good question. I don't know yet. Okay. At this point, I'm mostly focused on the area, but I can tell you that I'll be attending the HeW National Conference, which is coming up in February. So that national conference employers all over the country.
Okay, and the reason I ask that is because obviously here on the east side is a little different than the west side, especially in the IT area. And, you know, we have a couple unique certificate programs. And the challenge for us, for Rob and I and Connie, is that right now there are no employers. And we can't get it like a position description of what it would look like. And so that's a really big challenge. So that I think that when you attend that HeMS conference, it would be interesting to see their take on it, how they take on it. I know it's an up-and-coming thing, but here on the eastern side, I'm not sure what's happening in that field of mobile technology, mobile health, mobile device management.
Okay, well, that sounds like a really good thing for us, maybe in a separate call sometime.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, anyone else? Check the chat box again here. Okay, Beth just said we have the same problem here in Virginia. So I'm happy to follow up with you guys and see more kind of brainstorming and thinking that through in terms of connecting with employers. Okay, so before moving on to talking about future meetings and guest speakers, I just want to open it up once more. Does anyone have anything else that you're wanting to talk about in this meeting today? Okay, so then looking at future meetings, so I was able to contact Caitlin Jekyll at the Washington State Labor Council, and she had spoke to the group, I think, several months ago. So some of you may have been in that call. Others were on board yet then. But they work directly with the CAA program, and she's offered to join us on our next call to kind of give some tips for connecting with CAA eligible participants for recruitment. And Caitlin also wanted me to let you know that in the meantime, if anything comes up for you, if you have any questions or you'd like to talk with her individually, she would be happy to talk to you individually. So if you don't already contact information, let me know and I'll pass that along to you. And then for March, we actually have Yvette Herrera-Greer from PATH, who worked on a previous grant at Bellevue and is a recruiter at PATH and has offered to give us for connecting with employers. So that's planned for March. And I'm wondering if anyone has any other suggestions for future topics or guest speakers, or if anyone would like to step up and facilitate one of the upcoming meetings.
So Pam, two ideas I have, and I just sent it. One is that we have had it come up several times lately, ESL, ENL, so English language learning students are having a really difficult time in the nursing program, and I'm not really sure how to help these students in particular. So that would be a great topic that I would want to learn more about personally. And another thing is critical thinking. I feel like a lot of students, they do fine in individual classes. So they take one science class at a time, and it's fine. But once they come into something like nursing, you have to put all this information, very complex, together. And especially to pass the NCLEX, it's very detailed. It's like multiple question. And again, with critical thinking, that'd be another topic on maybe some tips on how to teach that or strategies on how to teach that or something. Would be really helpful for me.
Okay, great suggestion. Let me check the chat box here.
This is Brandy. I would say, I'm not even sure who the presenter might be, but just maybe some connection strategies for working with students, particularly some of the more vulnerable populations that we're working with.
Okay.
I don't know, yeah, just kind of some communication tips or, you know, practical things to use while working with a student, you know, like maybe a mental health counselor or something could even help out with that. I don't know. Just a thought.
Okay, thanks, Brandy. Can you be a little bit more specific? Are you running into any specific challenges?
Well, we do work closely with, our school's mental health counselor. We are running into some challenges with especially veteran students and those. We have several veteran students that have different disabilities and are taking medications that are interfering with their school and personal life, and a lot of outside distractions. So I don't know, I'm just always interested in learning different people's perspectives on how they connect with people and what types of questions they ask to elicit responses. And I just think communication strategies are always helpful.
Yeah, that's great.
And I see Jennifer also said connecting with veteran students.
Okay, yeah, I think that's really important. I'll definitely put that on the list. So I have working with ESL students, critical thinking strategies, and tips for connecting with students, especially veterans. Is there anything else? Okay. So Adriana and Brandy, I might be following up with you separately to kind of flesh through those topics and talk about guest speakers. Is that okay? Okay, great. Great, thank you, Adriana. Okay, well, I think that's all that I have for today. I'm wondering if Margaret or Patricia, I think, are online, if you have anything you'd like to add.
Hi, Pam, it's Patricia. Not for me, I just really appreciate listening. And I was so happy to hear the mention of special subset of student services for veterans and thinking about that. I think that's something that we wanted to concentrate on early on. So we're happy you're here, Pam, and happy to get to it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Patricia. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I think this was a great discussion, and I will type up my notes and get those out to everyone and follow up with those people who had ideas for topics. And also, I'll be following up with you on your goals. So I hope everyone has a wonderful week and weekend, and I look forward to our next meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Thanks, Pam.
Thanks, Pam.
Thanks.